I just wanted to give you guys a farmer's market cheat sheet with some tips and tricks, because I know, it's funny, people can get a little intimidated by the farmer's markets. Like, I don't know what to buy. There's all these weird vegetables I've never seen before. And so I just wanted to give you some stuff just so that you know what to expect when you go, and so you don't make any mistakes and feel silly for it. So first rule of farmers markets, bring cash. Most farmers aren't exactly the most technologically savvy people on earth, and they often almost never have credit card accepting. And if there is a ATM at a farmer's market, chances are you're not going to be the only one who forgot cash, and the line's probably going to be really long. And I would hate for you to get all the way there and be frustrated by the long line and leave because you didn't bring cash. So always bring cash. It's also really a good idea to bring a bag. So sometimes they'll have those little biodegradable plastic bags. Plastic has actually now been outlawed in California farmers markets. Don't know if you know this, but sometimes they'll have those biodegradable plastic bags. But you can only carry around so many of those at once, and so it's really smart to bring something a little bigger. And I actually created a bag for that specific purpose. So this is a bag I helped create with this company called Quirky. They're really they're like a innovation, like invention. So if you have an idea for an invention and you want to create it, you can go into Quirky and they can help you make it a real product like this. And what happened was I was going to the farmer's market all the time. I buy the bulk of my produce there, but what was happening is I just have a big sack, and I'd fill it up with cabbage and kale and all this stuff, but then I'd want to buy a peach, or I'd want to buy some tomatoes or some grapes. And no matter how carefully I tried to put it in the bag, when they're ripe, I would get home with demolished tomatoes. And they are not cheap. Heirloom tomatoes, they're like $3.50 a pound, and they're big. And you get home and you're like, $12 of tomatoes are smashed. This is the bummer, And so you'd have to sort of use them immediately. And this had happened to me so many times that I wanted to create a bag that would help me get my produce home safe. So basically what this is there's a big compartment in here for your bigger, heavier, sturdy items. And then on the outside, there's these little more delicate containers with these little hammocks, that you can sort of nestle a little peach in there, or nestle, something more delicate. And then also there's these side compartments for, your wallet or whatever else you need. So I'm gonna pull my best Oprah impression right now, and you get a bag, and you get a bag, and everybody gets a bag. So I bought my farmer's market bag for all of you to encourage you to go shopping. Oh, you guys get them too, and enjoy it. And I've actually had no casualties so far with any berries or any other produce. So you're welcome. Thank you, Quirky. Awesome. So now you have no excuse to not go on Saturday. I'm gonna be there watching for all of you. Do a little matching bags. All right, and that's awesome. So cool. Enjoy. And another thing that's good to note about the farmers market. Now, I am very guilty of this sometimes. I won't lie. Saturdays are not the day I typically want to wake up really early and be ambitious. However, if you can manage to get up and go a little earlier to the farmer's market, you are going to have the best selection, especially in the Bay Area. We've got some farmer's market hawks that live in this area, some of the chefs, for instance. And if there's something they know they want, for instance, I remember there was this, I discovered once at one of the stands this white pomegranate. And I love pomegranates. I grew up with a pomegranate tree, and I just think they're delicious. But they can really be tart sometimes, and sometimes the seeds can be really tough, depending on the time of year. But one day, I discovered that this farm had white pomegranates, and they were so good. They weren't really white. They were kind of pink, but they were so sweet. And one of the benefits of them was the seeds were really small. So you could just eat a big bunch of seeds, and it was just like this explosion of happy pomegranate juice in your mouth. And I went back the next week to try to get them. That week, I just randomly was there early. I went back the next week, and I was there at 9 or 9:30. I was still pretty early, but they were like, we sold out of those an hour ago, because they were so popular that everybody descended and took them all really early. So for the best pickings, for the best selection, definitely come as early as you can. Later in the day, they're going to be closing up. They're going to be sold out. You're going to have not as much fun picking through it. I highly recommend, one of the best things to experience when you're at the market is sampling, right? Lots of free fruit. And one thing that's really amazing is like to really, like Louisa was saying earlier today, there's like a lot of different kinds of carrots, or like during plum season. Has anybody been to the farmer's market during plum season? Like how many varieties are there?
Yeah, there's
dozens.
So many.
I mean, it's spectacular. There'll be like Flavor King and Flavor Queen and Flavor Grenade and Flavor Explosion, and like they're amazing. And some of the vendors will put out all the different ones for you to try, and all the different kinds of peaches. And it's really it's one of the most fun experiences. And then you can be absolutely certain the one you try that's your favorite, like that's worth the little bit of extra money that you're going to have to invest in getting a special piece of fruit or something like that. Don't forget to buy your favorites. I don't want to be all, I definitely encourage you to explore and buy new things, but make sure you get some staples that you know how to cook, that you know you like, and that when you are facing the dinner decision later that week, you're going to know exactly what to do with that. And they're going to be better at the farmer's market. The broccoli there tastes better. The cabbage there tastes better. Everything tastes better. Shop with your eyes and your nose. So just because you sort of think you want broccoli, sometimes the broccoli doesn't look as good as the cauliflower. Sometimes you'll see a piece of cauliflower and you're just like, that is a beauty. Trust your instincts in those moments and get the cauliflower. Go home and find a new recipe if you have to, and smells as well. Like if you walk by and you're like, I smell peaches. Like, turn around and go back and sample those, because, our senses know what's right, like what looks good, and it's the best thing to guide you along your shopping. And it's more fun that way. Then you're more excited about what you're going to cook. I try to make it a rule whenever I see something new. I'm at the point now where I know most of the vegetables, but if I ever see something new, I always buy it, because worst case scenario, you're out a couple bucks. Like I said, vegetables are pretty cheap. But you might discover your new favorite food. You might discover something amazing. So I always encourage you, don't fill your basket with new things, because you might end up with nothing to cook that you really like. But always try at least one new thing and learn to explore. And it's great to expand your palate and not get bored along the way. Again, go beyond fruit, vegetables. We talked about that a lot already. Oh, sorry. And also don't forget that the farmer's market has more than just fruits and veggies. The meat you're going to find at the farmer's market is going to be, from a small farm who doesn't have a big industrial thing going on, or the eggs, or the cheese, or even the olive oils and things like that. You can get really special items, and it doesn't necessarily stop at the produce stand.